Can humans truly be limitless, or are there inherent limitations to what we can achieve? This question has been at the center of philosophical and scientific debates for centuries, and it remains one of the most fascinating subjects to delve into. When we speak of human potential, we're talking about the capacity for individuals to grow, learn, and adapt. It's the ability to push the boundaries of what's thought possible and to constantly redefine our own limits. One concept that supports this idea of limitless potential is neuroplasticity, the brain's remarkable ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections throughout life. It's how we learn new things and adapt to new situations. It's why you can learn a new language at any age or recover from a brain injury. Neuroplasticity suggests a level of adaptability and growth that is, in a sense, limitless. But on the other side of the coin, we have the view that there are inherent limitations to what we can achieve. This perspective often comes from the fields of biology and genetics. Our genetic code, for instance, determines a lot about us. From our physical traits to our predisposition to certain health conditions, it sets certain boundaries that are hard, if not impossible, to cross. For example, no matter how much a person may train, they can't outrun a cheetah or outfly a bird. These are biological limitations that we as humans simply can't overcome. So, we find ourselves caught between these two contrasting views: the limitless potential suggested by neuroplasticity and the inherent limitations imposed by our biology and genetics. It's a paradox, a riddle that is yet to be fully solved. While the debate continues, one thing remains clear. Our potential for growth and learning is vast, and regardless of whether there are ultimate limits or not, we can always strive to push our boundaries, to learn more, to grow further, because that, in essence, is the human spirit, a relentless pursuit of knowledge and improvement. Is our increasing dependence on technology causing harm to our mental health? It's a question that's been making the rounds, and as we delve into the topic, it's clear that the answer isn't black and white. Imagine this. You're scrolling through your social media feed and you're suddenly overwhelmed by a flurry of perfect vacation photos, heartwarming family moments, and success stories. This immersion in other people's high points can lead to feelings of inadequacy and depression, a phenomenon known as social media comparison. Then there's the issue of screen time. Many of us are tethered to our devices, whether for work or leisure. The blue light emitted by screens can interfere with our circadian rhythms, disrupting our sleep patterns. Lack of quality sleep is a known trigger for various mental health issues, including anxiety and depression. However, it's important to remember that technology is not inherently harmful. It's how we use it that determines its impact on our lives. For instance, consider the burgeoning field of digital mental health tools. There are apps designed to promote mindfulness, manage stress, and even connect users with professional therapists. These resources can be invaluable, especially for those who may not have easy access to traditional mental health services. Furthermore, technology has allowed us to stay connected in an increasingly globalized world. It has made it possible for us to maintain relationships across vast distances, to learn from a plethora of online sources, and to work from virtually anywhere. So is technology a villain or a hero in our mental health saga? The truth is, it can be both. The key lies in our relationship with it. We must strive to use technology in a way that enhances our lives without letting it overshadow our real-world experiences and interactions. Remember, technology is a tool. It's up to us to use it wisely and not let it use us. As we navigate this digital age, perhaps the most important thing to remember is this. In the digital age, it's all about balance. Should we play God with our own biology? Profound, isn't it? A question that's been stirring quite a debate in the scientific and ethical realms. Genetic engineering, once the stuff of science fiction, is now a reality. And with it comes a host of moral and ethical questions. Imagine being able to edit genes like a line of code in a software program. This is no longer a figment of imagination, but a reality made possible by technologies like CRISPR. With a few tweaks here and there, we could potentially eliminate genetic disorders, enhance human capabilities, or even design our offspring. Sounds like a utopia, doesn't it? But every coin has two sides. As we tinker with our biology, we're stepping into uncharted territory. What happens when we start choosing the traits of our children? Will we inadvertently create a society where people are valued based on their genetically engineered traits? Think about the potential for misuse. In the hands of the unscrupulous, gene editing technology could be weaponized or used to create biological inequality. Is it right to risk the potential for abuse in the pursuit of scientific advancement? On the other side of the coin, proponents of genetic engineering argue that it could lead to the eradication of diseases. Imagine a world free from the likes of cancer, Alzheimer's, or Huntington's disease. Isn't that a future worth striving for? But even then, we must tread carefully. The human genome is an intricate web of interconnected genes. Editing one gene might have unforeseen consequences on another, leading to new diseases and disorders, the butterfly effect in our very own biology. So we return to our initial question, should we play God with our own biology? It's not a simple yes or no, it's a question of balance, of risk and reward, and most importantly, of responsibility. Genetic engineering holds immense potential, but it also brings with it a Pandora's box of ethical dilemmas. As we stand on this precipice of scientific advancement, we must ask ourselves not only what we can do, but also what we should do. Our power over our own biology is growing, but should it? Is love a choice or a feeling beyond our control? Now that's a question that has puzzled humans since the dawn of time. As we delve into this topic, let's remember that love, in its essence, is a complex and multifaceted concept. From a philosophical perspective, love has been perceived as a conscious decision, a commitment. It's about choosing to care, choosing to make sacrifices, choosing to prioritize another's happiness above your own. This view of love focuses on actions rather than emotions. In this light, love is seen as a steadfast choice, a deliberate act of will. On the other hand, love has been described as an uncontrollable emotion, a force of nature that sweeps us off our feet. Have you ever heard of the phrase, falling in love? It suggests an involuntary action, something that happens to us, rather than something we consciously do. This perspective sees love as a potent, overwhelming feeling that can neither be controlled nor contained. Psychologists often discuss love in terms of attachment, intimacy, and passion. These components can occur in varying degrees and combinations, further adding to the complexity of love. Attachment and intimacy may be seen as choices, as they involve decisions to commit and to share oneself deeply with another. Passion, with its intense longing and desire, might be seen as an uncontrollable emotion. But can these two perspectives be reconciled? Perhaps love isn't strictly a choice or a feeling, maybe it's a bit of both. A dance between the conscious and the unconscious, the voluntary and the involuntary. We choose to love, and yet we also feel love. We decide to commit, and yet we also find ourselves drawn to another. We actively love, and yet we also fall in love. In the end, love might just be one of life's great paradoxes, a mystery that continues to bewilder and enchant us. So, is love a choice or a feeling beyond our control? Perhaps love, in all its complexity, is both a choice and a feeling. Scene script. Can we trust our gut instincts? Intuition, that mysterious inner voice that prods us without explanation, plays a remarkable role in decision-making. It's like a silent whisper from the depths of our subconscious, guiding us through the labyrinth of life. But just how reliable is it? Psychology provides us with illuminating examples. Consider the blink phenomenon, a term coined by Malcolm Gladwell. It's the idea that in the blink of an eye, we make complex judgments without even realizing it. A seasoned firefighter, for instance, might intuitively sense danger in a burning building, even if he can't put his finger on why he feels that way. His intuition is a distillation of years of experience, a hidden wisdom that saved countless lives. Yet intuition isn't always our best guide. Take the gambler's fallacy, for example. It's the mistaken belief that if a coin flip lands on heads 5 times in a row, it's more likely to land on tails next. Intuitively it feels right, but statistically it's wrong. Each flip is independent, and the odds remain 50-50. So what's the takeaway here? Should we follow our gut, or shouldn't we? The answer lies in balance. Intuition and logical reasoning are not adversaries. Rather, they're two sides of the same coin, two complementary tools in our decision-making toolkit. Intuition can offer swift insights, especially in familiar situations where we've built up expertise. Yet, for complex decisions or unfamiliar territory, logical reasoning can help us weigh the pros and cons, dissecting the situation with surgical precision. In essence, intuition is like an impressionist painting. It captures the essence, the feeling of a scene, but it might not get all the details right. Logical reasoning, on the other hand, is like a photograph, capturing every minute detail but sometimes missing the emotion of the moment. So, can we trust our gut instincts? Yes, but with a pinch of salt and a healthy dose of scrutiny. Intuition can guide us, but it's not infallible. Does material wealth bring true fulfillment? That's a question we've all pondered at some point. In a world where consumerism is often king, it's easy to be seduced by the allure of material possessions. But does this constant pursuit of more truly lead to happiness? Psychological studies have provided fascinating insights into this very question. Research has consistently shown a weak relationship between wealth and happiness. Once basic needs are met, additional income does little to raise a person's sense of satisfaction with life. A study by Harvard Business School, for instance, found that people who spent money on experiences like travel, dining and hobbies were significantly happier than those who spent on material goods. Why? Because experiences foster a sense of connection with others and create lasting memories. The joy of an experience lingers long after the event has passed. Moreover, our happiness is tied to our values. When we focus on intrinsic values like personal growth or helping others, we tend to be happier. But when we prioritize extrinsic values like wealth or status, our happiness often takes a hit. It seems that the constant pursuit of material possessions can distract us from what truly matters, leaving us feeling unfulfilled and dissatisfied. Yet it's important to note that consumerism isn't inherently bad. It's the mindless consumption, the relentless quest for more, that can rob us of our happiness. When we learn to appreciate what we have and spend our money on experiences that enrich our lives, we can find greater fulfillment. So, perhaps it's time to question the narrative that equates wealth with happiness. Maybe it's time to redefine success, not in terms of what we own, but by the richness of our experiences and the depth of our relationships. Happiness, it seems, cannot be bought. It is cultivated through meaningful experiences, strong relationships, and the pursuit of intrinsic values. So the next time you feel the pull of consumerism, pause and ask yourself, will this truly make me happy? Because at the end of the day, happiness isn't found in a store. It's found within ourselves. What is the essence of our subjective experience? This question leads us into the labyrinth of consciousness, a realm where philosophy and psychology intersect. Consciousness in its simplest form is our awareness of ourselves and the world around us. Yet it's also a complex and multifaceted concept that has intrigued thinkers for centuries. From a philosophical perspective, consciousness is often seen as the bridge between our physical bodies and our subjective experiences. It's the vessel that carries our sensations, thoughts, emotions, and desires. Immanuel Kant, a renowned philosopher, posited that consciousness is not just a passive recipient of information, but an active participant that shapes our perception of reality. On the other hand, from a psychological viewpoint, consciousness is a dynamic and continuous stream of thoughts and experiences. It's the silent narrator of our life story, weaving together the threads of our past, present, and future. American psychologist William James likened consciousness to a river, always changing, yet always the same. There are also theories that suggest consciousness might be more than just a human phenomenon. Some propose that it could exist in non-human animals, even in inanimate objects, a concept known as panpsychism. And then there's the hard problem of consciousness, a term coined by philosopher David Chalmers. This problem refers to the question of how and why physical processes in the brain give rise to the subjective experience of being. Despite the advances in neuroscience, this remains a profound mystery. So, where does this leave us? Well, consciousness, it seems, is an enigma wrapped in a riddle. It's the ghost in the machine, the light in the darkness, the melody and the cacophony of existence. It's what makes us who we are, and yet it's something we barely understand. Understanding consciousness is perhaps one of the greatest challenges we face. But it's a challenge worth pursuing, for it offers a deeper understanding of not just who we are, but what it means to be. Are there questions that will forever remain unanswered? A profound query that drags us into the realm of the unknown. It's a fact that the human intellect has consistently pushed the boundaries of knowledge, but can we truly know everything? Let's consider this through the lens of philosophy. The ancient Greek philosopher Socrates once declared, "I know that I know nothing." His wisdom lay in acknowledging the vastness of the universe and our limited ability to comprehend it fully. No matter how much we learn, the horizon of knowledge keeps expanding, always just a step beyond our grasp. Now let's pivot to science. Quantum physics, for instance, with its particle-wave duality, challenges our very understanding of reality. Light behaves both as a particle and a wave, but why? Is it a limitation of our understanding, or is it an inherent mystery of the universe? Then we have the paradox of the cat in the box, known as Schrödinger's cat. Is the cat alive or dead before we open the box? The answer is it's both. It's only when we observe that the cat's fate crystallizes into one reality. This baffling concept shakes the very foundation of our logic and understanding. The limitations of human knowledge aren't just about the mysteries of the universe, but also about our own consciousness. Consider dreams. Despite centuries of scientific and philosophical investigation, why we dream remains a mystery. And then there's the ultimate question that has puzzled humanity since the dawn of consciousness, the mystery of life and death. What happens after we die? Is there an afterlife? These are questions that science cannot answer, and perhaps it never will. These examples highlight the inherent limitations of our knowledge. There are truths that are likely to remain beyond our understanding, not due to our incapabilities, but because of the inherent nature of the universe and existence itself. The pursuit of knowledge is endless, and so too are the mysteries it seeks to unravel. So let's continue to question, to learn, and to marvel at the enigma that is our existence. In a hyper-connected world, are we losing touch with ourselves? A question that has become increasingly pertinent in our era of constant digital engagement. As we delve into the journey of self-discovery and self-awareness, it's important to remember one key player, a quiet companion often overlooked in the din of our bustling lives: solitude. Solitude, contrary to popular belief, is not synonymous with loneliness. It is a state of being alone without feeling lonely, a time for self-reflection and introspection. It's about embracing the silence, and in that silence, finding the echo of your thoughts, your dreams, and your identity. In the whirlwind of modern life, we are constantly plugged in, ceaselessly communicating and incessantly absorbing information. We are part of a global conversation that never sleeps. And while this interconnectivity brings many benefits, it also has its pitfalls. Our minds, caught in this relentless tide of stimuli, rarely get a chance to breathe, to reflect, to simply be. Solitude offers this much-needed respite. It provides a haven where we can retreat from the world, from its demands and expectations, and focus on our inner selves. It allows us to tune into our thoughts and feelings, to understand who we are beneath the roles we play and the masks we wear. Research in psychology has shown that periods of solitude can foster creativity, boost mental health, and enhance self-awareness. It can help us navigate our emotions, build resilience, and cultivate a sense of inner peace. Yet, in our pursuit of constant connection, we often neglect this vital aspect of our well-being. Let's consider this. The next time we reach for our phones out of habit or feel the compulsion to fill every moment with activity, let's remember that it's okay, even necessary, to disconnect, to step back, and to spend time with our own thoughts. In the quest for connection, let's not forget the importance of solitude. After all, it's in the quiet moments of solitude that we often find the loudest echoes of self-discovery and self-awareness. To what extent are we shaped by others' perceptions of us? Identity, a complex construct, is a blend of our internal sense of self and external influences, and societal expectations. They play a pivotal role in shaping our identity. Consider a mirror. When you look into it, you see a reflection, an image of yourself. But this image is not just formed by your physical characteristics. It's also shaped by the labels, expectations, and perceptions of the society around you. Psychologists term this as the looking glass self theory. This concept, proposed by Charles Horton Cooley, suggests that our self-concept is built in part on how we believe others perceive us. We imagine how we appear to others, interpret their reactions, and then develop a self-concept. For example, if you're repeatedly told you're a leader, you might start adopting leadership qualities. You behave in ways that fit this perception, and over time, you become what society expected you to be. This is not to say that we are mere puppets dancing on the strings of societal expectations. It simply highlights the power of external influences on our identity formation. But what happens when societal expectations clash with our inner selves? This conflict can lead to a sense of dissonance, a feeling of being torn between who we are and who we are expected to be. This dissonance can often cause emotional distress and identity crises. Yet it's important to remember that societal expectations are not inherently negative. They provide a framework, a reference point from which we can navigate the world. However, the challenge arises when these expectations become rigid dictations rather than flexible guidelines. So to answer the question, to what extent are we shaped by others' perceptions of us? The answer is complex. While our identities are indeed influenced by societal expectations, we also have the agency to challenge, negotiate, and redefine these expectations in line with our personal values and beliefs. We are, in part, a reflection of how others see us. But remember, we are also much more than that. We are a culmination of our experiences, choices, and the unique way we perceive and interact with the world. Should non-human animals have the same moral consideration as humans? A question that incites a multitude of opinions and a debate that has persisted through the ages. In the realm of philosophy, we encounter various perspectives. Utilitarian philosophers like Jeremy Bentham argued that the capacity to suffer or experience pleasure should be the benchmark for moral consideration. Bentham famously asked, "The question is not can they reason, nor can they talk, but can they suffer?" In contrast, Kantian philosophy contends that only rational beings capable of understanding moral law are deserving of moral consideration. In the legal sphere, the situation is complex. Many countries have laws against animal cruelty, yet animals are still considered property. This paradox reflects the ongoing struggle to reconcile our use of animals for labor, companionship, and food with our moral intuitions about their well-being. Yet the debate is far from settled. Some argue that animals should have rights based on their ability to feel pain, their emotional capacity, or their role in our ecosystems. Others hold that human interests should always take precedence, as we are the only species capable of moral reasoning. There are also those who propose a middle ground, advocating for animal welfare rather than animal rights. This perspective recognizes the importance of animals' well-being, but it stops short of bestowing them with rights equivalent to those of humans. The question of animal rights is not just about animals. It's also about us, about our moral compass, and about the kind of world we wish to inhabit. It forces us to question the boundaries of our empathy and our understanding of justice. As we grapple with these ethical considerations, it's important to remember that our actions have consequences not just for us, but for the myriad of other creatures that share our planet. The question of animal rights challenges us to redefine our understanding of morality. And so the debate continues, pushing us to reflect, to question, and to grow. Is justice an objective standard or a subjective ideal? Let's ponder on this for a moment. Justice, a term we've all heard, used, and perhaps even sought after. Philosophically speaking, justice is often viewed as a complex balance of fairness and equality. On one hand, we have the concept of distributive justice, where resources and opportunities are allocated equally among society. Think of it as dividing a pie of equal size among a group of people. Everyone gets an equal slice. But is it fair? Is it just for the person who baked the pie to get the same slice as those who didn't contribute? On the other hand, we have retributive justice, where punishment is proportionate to the crime. Let's consider a scenario where two individuals commit the same crime, but one has a history of criminal activity while the other is a first-time offender. Should their punishments be the same? Is that justice? In the legal sphere, we often see justice as being objective, based on established laws and regulations, yet these laws are created by humans who carry their own biases and perceptions. So isn't justice in this context also subjective? Then there's social justice, a term frequently bandied about in recent times. This version of justice seeks to address inequalities and injustices in society, from racial and gender disparities to economic and environmental issues. But again, what is considered an injustice by some may not be viewed the same by others. So, we find ourselves in a quandary. Is justice an objective standard that everyone can agree on? Or is it a subjective ideal, shaped by our individual perspectives, experiences and values? The answer, it appears, is not so black and white. Justice, like beauty, lies in the eyes of the beholder. It is an ever-evolving concept, shaped by societal norms and individual perceptions. It is both objective and subjective, depending on the lens through which it is viewed. And so we circle back to our original question. Is justice an objective standard or a subjective ideal? Justice, it seems, is in the eye of the beholder.